Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, How Women in Construction Keep the Industry Alive and Thriving. We are super excited to talk about how women are key players in this industry that's historically dominated by men. Before we do move forward, I want to let everyone know that we are recording this live session. So you will receive the link with the recording in it tomorrow if you'd like to watch it again or share it with your team. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, all of the things during the presentation, remember to drop them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we'll get to those questions at the end. So my name is Allie, and I'm an expansion account manager here at LevelSet. I help empower people like you to really own their roles by utilizing LevelSet's tools. I do have our three incredible co-hosts and panelists here joining me today from various roles and companies in the industry. And of course, they're all women. Kate, would you like to start out with an introduction there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everyone for logging in today. This is such an important webinar. Really, it's great. Again, my name is Kate. I'm the president, owner, and qualifying general contractor of Build Ventures. We're a full service general contracting firm headquartered in Orlando, but we do work throughout the state. Our primary service offerings are hotel, resort, new construction, conversion, renovations, and refreshes, and we specialize in occupied renovation. I've been in real estate management for my entire life, a family business. I'm also a licensed real estate broker, but I did pursue a career specifically in construction in about 2012. I was working as an executive for a hotel construction company. And then 2015, I opened my own firm with a business partner, managed that company for about 6 years. But now, most recently, and I'm so excited, as of the first of this year, I'm happy to say that we've launched Build Ventures under my GC and as a sole owner, and we are officially now designated as a 100% female-owned company, which is I'm so proud of it and so disruptive to the building industry in such a big and important way. So I'm extremely honored to be here. I'm extremely honored to speak on how critical our involvement as women really is in this industry to transform it for the better, and also how LevelSet's really assisting in that process too.
Awesome.
Gloria?
Hi, I'm Gloria Macias. I'm the Director of Credit and Collections for Action Gypsum Supply. I've been with Action since 2013. We're a building material supplier, the largest independently owned supplier in Texas, minority and woman-owned. Our managing partners are both minority and a woman. Action originated as one branch in Houston, Texas in 2003. We are now 21 branches and in 5 states. I started my career in auto finance, actually right out of high school, and did that for about just over 13 years. Left that industry into construction with no real path in place at the time. The change really came more just because of the demand that there was in the car business. And as a single parent at the time, it just didn't fit my life at that moment, and looked out for more just other opportunities in credit. I knew that's where I wanted to stay. I didn't know that that was my niche in credit management. Got a phone call by our co-manager, Terry King, and the rest is history. We deal with large and small subcontractors, general contractors, builders, and right now I'm directing all of it for all 5 states.
Wow, awesome.
Awesome.
Vivian, to you.
Hi, well, first of all, I am really excited about being on this panel with these amazing women. As you can hear, they are powerhouses in this industry, and just really excited to be here. I am Mesh's staff accountant and their HR rep, along with some other things. But I came into this business about 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years now. I'm looking for an accounting job, not knowing that I was stepping into something really awesome and great. And so Mesh is a subcontractor. We are located in St. Petersburg, Florida, where Kate is from. And most of our jobs are $1 million projects. And we are just really, really excited about the work. We're growing. I've seen this business grow in the last 3.5 years in such an amazing way. And I know that we're going to keep growing. And I think that I like to think that the women here have a lot to do with that.
That's great. That's awesome to hear. All right. So And this is, in case this is your first time at a Level Set webinar, I want to give you a quick overview of both who we are and what we do. So we all know the construction industry presents all sorts of challenges when it comes to getting paid. Level Set is here to help you get paid. Our lien rights management software helps you track mechanics liens and notice deadlines, verify job site information, and basically just makes it easy to manage your lien rights paperwork. We also provide materials financing and access to construction attorneys and other legal services. So in celebration of Women in Construction Week, we're going to talk through the challenges, successes, and opportunities for growth for women in construction. And of course, the Q&A, of course. I encourage everyone to really put those questions in the chat as we move through content. So let's get started. Back to our panelists. I'd love to have a little bit more information on why y'all chose your fields. So Gloria, can you tell us what led you to choosing this field?
I guess with the way it happened, I'd have to say it chose me. I mean, being completely honest, as I mentioned in the intro, I was in auto credit consumer lending for just over 13 years, close to 15 years, straight out of high school. And that kind of happened after having landed my first job while in high school at a car dealership. So I liked the thrill of it, the fast-paced environment. And so I kind of just got into finance from there. I started from the bottom up. Again, I only got into construction, I think maybe it was just meant to be. Maybe it was my path. But at the time, I was just looking for something that was more suitable for me as a single parent at the time. I knew I wanted to be in credit. Construction found me. When I found this job, I didn't even know what gypsum was. I just knew that was the name of the company. And I found that out pretty quickly. But I can at least say that once I got this job and started learning more about construction, I knew it's where I wanted to stay. I can't see myself ever leaving the industry now. There's just so much opportunity here. And as Kate, prefaced, for women and just the future that we have here and the impact that we're making in this industry, what companies like you, what Level Set is doing to highlight that. It's just been amazing to be a part of it and to see how I've been able to grow my network and just learn and be able to have an impact on it and for what our future gals are going to be able to do in this industry. So I can't exactly say I chose it, but now that I'm here, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah, here to stay. That's great. All right. Well, Vivian, I'd love to know a little bit about what your career journey has looked like so far.
Oh, wow. So I would say that I actually have been in accounting and bookkeeping and payroll since I was about 16. I got my first job in high school as a payroll clerk, and my most favorite class in high school was accounting. And so it kind of sucked me in. Being in construction, this is actually my first job in construction. And I was kind of like Gloria. I wasn't actually looking to get into construction. I was in need of a job. So I did a little study about the business before I had my interview. But once I came on board, I was excited about learning about construction, about fabrication, about just everything. There's still a lot of things I don't know, but when I get an opportunity, I'll speak with others here and find out like what they're doing. I'll sneak out into the shop and take a look at different projects and things of that sort. So I'm with Gloria. It chose me for sure.
I hear you. There's an opportunity and you went for it. That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
So Kate, what does your typical day look like?
Oh man, I think I might be the only glutton for punishment in this panelist because I set out to be in construction. So, it's it has its own ups and downs, but my typical day really is, managing everything and everyone. And frankly, women really need to be in this industry to start transforming it. We're so much more detail oriented. We are so much more, contract oriented. And that's really what I do is I make sure that I'm reviewing everything for compliance, for contract management, for our subcontractors, financial, really all of our lien waivers, everything legal. And then also managing our field and making sure that our field and our office staff are all coordinated completely. And we are also relaying that to the client and making sure that the client is happy, being well serviced, and everything is going smoothly. And I'm excited to talk about level set. I really am, because integrating level set into our day-to-day has made most of that so much easier, and or not completely automated, that I don't have to even do that. So now I can focus more on managing our employees, managing operations, bringing in more clients. And again, of course, always making sure the client is satisfied. So it's been a really great implementation for us. I can't wait to get started to talk about it more.
Thank you all for sharing. All right, let's get into the agenda. So back to Kate again. As a business owner in the construction industry, what are some of the obstacles you've faced in an industry mostly dominated by men?
Well, some of the biggest obstacles that I've really come to realize, and actually, frankly, have to admit that never seem to go away year after year, is really proving my competence and really establishing my role. And not only my role as a contractor, but really as like a female business owner and authority figure. I face that constant kind of like back to zero, if you will, every time a new project starts. I have to reestablish all of that amid my clients, subcontractors, vendors, and, unfortunately, sometimes even some of my employees. The reality is that not only do I, equally deal with all of the typical issues and impediments, already associated with construction, albeit sequencing issues, communication, compliance, and safety, as all my male colleagues do. That's just a given in the industry. That's what everyone who's a contractor has to deal with on site. But above and beyond that, in the periphery, which is inherent, I'm constantly combating like these words and feelings of doubt. I literally outwardly get challenged in my role, professionals, and my knowledge. I'll be asked questions in like a very, quizzing way, as opposed to an inquisitive way on the job site, to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. And arguably my male counterparts really will never have to encounter that, nor do they really have to think twice about it. So I genuinely feel like as a woman, I have to work double duty on jobs to make them as successful as I have. So it's just very challenging to keep all of that balanced and to make sure that everything is, no balls are being dropped, even though I have to deal with a lot more in the background.
Okay. So we have a question from the Q&A. Kate, you mentioned how women will transform the industry for the better. How do you think this will and already is happening?
Yeah, well, I definitely think it's already happening. I encounter so many more talented women in the industry every day. And this is just another precedent of that, which is amazing in this webinar. And I think we're transforming it because, like I said, we are a lot more detail oriented. We're a lot more action oriented. Historically, construction is a very reactive market and industry. And that's, I think,
Sure.
where we have a bad rap, really, is that a lot of how it's been going before, a little bit more male dominated and centric, is just more on the reactive side. So I really have to push my team to be more proactive, to really, push those boundaries, make those phone calls, push things across the finish line. And historically, I think that it's been a little bit more relaxed, and that's been pushing things over budget, over time, and has really created that, kind of sense that construction is not, trustworthy or not valued. And I think women, I've really noticed working with women, we all rally together and we push that, we push those envelopes, and we push everyone to do things correctly, safely, and in the proper sequencing. And that's made a huge difference in my projects and how my clients feel about my work.
That's impressive and makes me so proud to hear it. I know that for us, whenever one woman goes ahead and does it, it gives everyone else permission to do the same. So let's see, Vivian, MESH is a worldwide organization. As the accountant who holds it all together, what are some unique challenges that you face in your role?
Unfortunately, a lot of my challenges are the same as Kate. I'm a woman and I can't change that. And even though I am the accountant here, and the only one who really has a background in it. I do have an assistant though, Sierra. She's awesome. She's actually our office manager, and she also assists me. But I will be asked all of the questions that you ask your accountant. You know, questions about your P&L, questions about what do you think, how do you think we can cut costs in this area or on this particular job, and I can give that information, and it can be totally ignored, or it will be checked by every other male that has nothing at all to do or have no knowledge about accounting, and their answer will be the one that they go with. But for me, I have decided that everyone is on this earth for a reason, and we have a purpose. So I decide to show up every day and to live in my purpose and bring all of me to every situation, to every email, to every meeting. And regardless of the response or whether it's accepted or it isn't, I am still going to show up and just give my 100% best. I will balance the books. I will give the best cash flow projections. I will do whatever it is that I'm called to do, and I'll do it excellently and let my work speak for itself.
I love that. It's whenever you do the work, you're showing it and no one else can doubt it. This is what I did. This is my work and you can't deny it. That's great. All right. Gloria, you are the director over all of the credit and collections for a huge supplier. What's your career journey been like so far? And what were some challenges you faced along the way? And do you still face them in your current role?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, when I came into construction in 2003, I was new to construction and this industry. And credit in construction is a lot different than credit for cars. I tell you that. But, thankfully, I did have a great support team and peers, female peers here who have, through the different industries, have been able to help me through that part of it. So once I overcame just the challenge of learning what the business was, then the next challenge I think that comes to mind is just the growth. As I stated, when I started, we were 4 branches in one state. We're now 5 states and 21 branches. Well, different states bring different laws and brings different rules, different deadlines. And I didn't get any advance notice to learn that before we opened. We opened up a branch and I was expected to handle it and take it over. And I'll throw in that plug there. Level Set was the first resource I found when I Googled lien law for California. And it's been my resource ever since. It's just a quick location for me to go and find simple, easily formatted, step-by-step on how to handle each state. I use it now daily. It's continued to be a challenge, but I use it to educate myself and then turn around and train and educate my team. But still with growth, with the growth and going into new regions, that's new sales staff, and they're all eager and zealous to bring in all of their new clients. And that leads to new credit applications, which leads to sales, which is all new AR. So while growth is a fantastic problem to have, there's just a lot of challenge that comes with that. I add to that, we were only one. At the time, when we started, it was myself and one other person in the department. And we're now a total of 10. Wow. And that was my first feat, was building that team, of great people who were going to be able to take this all on with me. I knew it's not something I could do myself. And then adding to that, it was a goal of mine first, as soon as I came on with Action, was to build a rapport with my sales team. I was the person who was brought in to tighten up the processes and the procedures and to protect, our credit base and our credit line. And our sales team at the time, they weren't used to that. It was very, handshake and a smile type agreements, and I was the gal who came in and changed that. But I also wanted to gain their trust. I wanted to make sure that they knew I was on their side. Credit is not the anti-sales department, as, people would like to sometimes refer. And I have a little sales gal in me myself, if I have to admit. So it was important to me that my department, the role that we played, and the value that we brought to the company was also sold to our customer. And I wanted that to be part of why they wanted to do business with Action as well, not just, the product itself. So we're constantly growing. Action is still expanding. So yes, there are still challenges in my role. Kind of like Vivian said, I face them head on, a handful at a time. Challenge is what drives me. So I welcome it.
I love it. That just hearing too, especially the expansion of your team and how you were able to take that, make that connection with the sales team and show, hey, I'm here for you. You get us paid, we get you paid. We're going to make this work. That's awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, Kate, most people in the construction industry are really slow to adopt new technologies and software. For new businesses, most people just try to get right to work and bootstrap business operations, which leaves their business vulnerable to all sorts of things like slow paying customers and inefficient processes. When you left your last business, which I know you also owned, to start Build Ventures, you wasted no time in making sure your new construction business had the right tools and infrastructure in place to truly be successful. I'm dying to know what your mindset was going into creating a construction business and how your unique way of doing things helped you overcome those challenges.
Sure. Actually, well, back to the Q&A question, this is another reason why our industry really needs more women in it, because I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit when an SOP is just not working and we need to change it immediately. If we aren't learning from what we're doing, how can we make it better, and what are we doing then? So being in this industry for so long, I've really learned a lot of the critical bottlenecks, like in the processes and procedures, like when it comes to contract administration, lien and legal compliance. And then, of course, working with so many layers of businesses and work hands, from like your direct subcontractors to your sub of subs, then to your material men of the sub to the sub. Even the best well-oiled machines can really overlook deadlines, releases, invoices can get easily thrown to the side. So in my previous companies, I'll admit we left ourselves pretty exposed by not filing the proper releases, not filing proper legal documents in the proper timeframes, and frankly, I'll admit, not really knowing those third-party subcontractors who are on our jobs and their lien rights. The point is that these workplace inefficiencies that seem so minor because it's so fast-paced and we're just moving can really be very, very detrimental to the business. So when I launched Build Ventures, I refused to let such controllable concepts become such damaging issues. So Level Set's really been that pathway to success for us. Really the power is in the new tech of automation to electronically manage and store all these things like compliance and payable. And then of course your extremely well organized, user-friendly dashboard. Honestly, that has been a huge game changer, making the job contract management part so incredibly easy. I'm a general contractor, contracting is in the name. And I feel like so many contractors forget that a huge part of our job isn't just implementation, but it's pre-construction work and paperwork and legal administration during the job process. And again, that's where we excel as women, because we can understand that and we know how to manage that. But Level Set has, really made it so incredibly easy. And really what sealed the deal for me, though, is your vast and deep, your research deliverables and capabilities. That was so impressive that you have so many people dedicated to just researching our issues, our problems, our statutes, our legal ramifications, everything all the time. It's a really great extension of your company that you never really have to think about again. And your customer service is amazing. I just call and I can get any information that I need to better manage my business. My point is, at the end of the day in this industry, to know things before they happen and to be alerted of things in real time, which Level Set provides, will take your business from good to exceptionally great. And this efficiencies in Build Ventures has already allowed me to elevate our brand than what we had before, and to actually end up charge more for our services, because it just makes us that much better in the competition, because we can focus more on our clients. We can focus more on the small things that we can't control, because this is already being taken care of. So. Okay.
So you're telling me you're organized, super efficient with what you're doing, and you're not afraid to utilize that technology to make you take yourself from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
100%. And you need to do that. You need to grow your business. And that's what I learned from the other company. And that's why this one, I refuse to make those same mistakes, because we were just very bogged down and overlooking things. And it really makes you very exposed. So making sure that you have a back end that can support that will help you, will only make this job and business easier.
For sure. Thank you. Well, okay. So Vivian, before you came to Level Set, Mesh was really struggling to front the cash to cover the cost of new jobs. That cash crunch we know is especially painful for subcontractors who have higher material cost. Can you tell us how you dealt with that reality and what advice you'd give?
I prayed a lot because it was definitely a frustrating situation. Again, this is my first job in construction. So for me, if we in the past, you issue an invoice, it's net 10, it's net 15, it's maybe net 30. But here we issue pay apps and then it's 45 to 60 days after the pay app is approved. And at the end of the day, that means that our purchases can be anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands at one order. So to have to come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars before you ever receive your deposit or a payment on your first invoice has made cash flow projections and managing the cash flow here definitely challenging. And I love Level Set. Your team has been amazing. Not only is your platform easy to use, not only do you guys treat us as if we are your only client, you are quick with turnaround, you answer all of our questions, and I send multiple emails. But your team has just been amazing and giving us that 120 days to pay a $235,000 or $125,000 invoice makes a huge difference. So that 120 days when we're waiting 60 or so days, or if something got dropped, then maybe it's a little more than that. It definitely gives us some breathing room.
That's awesome to hear. I think that my favorite thing is with you saying, yes, it gives you the flexibility, but at the same time, it sounds like you're also able to hold Level Set as an extension of your team.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've shown you, we've got your back there.
You guys are amazing. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Well, now on to Gloria. Action Gypsum has been around since 2003, and it is a huge national supplier. So, Gloria, I imagine you have to run a pretty tight ship to keep your department and its functions in line. How have you managed to overcome the challenges you shared with us to keep your department running as efficiently and smoothly as possible?
Well, to that, let me first make sure I say what an amazing team that I have. I am so thankful for them. There's no way that I can do what I do without them. They've definitely gone through the change and expansions with me. A lot of trial and error along the way. There's been multiple mentions just about, the risk with missing a notice or the risk of signing the wrong waiver and understanding the language in, the joint check agreements and just all of the different legal documents that can make or break a whole deal or even an account. I mentioned that there's 10 of us. We're spread out between 3 different locations, but the majority of us are in Houston, so I am present with them. But whether I am in the office with them or our remote employees, I commit to making sure that I'm present and available despite the different time zones. And despite, the endless meetings, the deadlines, no matter how many directions that the growth and expansion has pulled me in, I know that time, as challenging as it is to find, is key. I need to be present for my team, the communication, keeping them informed, making sure that they're in the loop. To me, there isn't, of course, there's a level of rapport and what but I know that it's important that they know what's going on in our business. They know what's going on in our industry. There are no secrets. If I know it, they're going to know it. And teaching them and empowering them first and foremost has been the way that I keep them or keep our team, together and united and functioning. I'm carbon copying on 99% of all email communication from my team. And I know that sounds super crazy. It is. It drives me insane, but it allows me to stay in the loop. It allows me to identify training opportunities, to recognize achievements, and to be a support for my team when they need me, especially for those matters that get more escalated or if they need a certain tier of approval. It allows me to be able to give that customer a timely turnaround and be able to support the credit specialist at the same time so that they're not kind of put in a corner on something. We have a set schedule for all of our processes. Our processes are the expectations for each process and procedure is laid out. It's clear. We know what we're doing this week. Right now we're preparing for liens next week. Tuesday's the 15th in Texas. It's an important time. We all know what our expectations are so that we're working towards the same goal. It took a little bit more time than I'd like to admit, but finalizing an updated procedures manual so that our team has resources at their disposal without having to stop or ask or look. That had been a goal of mine for quite a while, and we finally got that done. I understand that as a team, we succeed or fail. It's not just me. There is no I. And it's my job to, continue to empower them and educate them. No matter that amount of change, again, it's communication, consistency, and follow through. And just making sure that we all know what's happening and keeping them informed and giving them the opportunities to learn as well. Level Set offered a great webinar by Thea Dudley on construction management, and that I made every single person on my team take that course. And they were grunting when I first put it out there, but they all loved it afterwards because there was so much that they were able to learn. And from someone with so much experience in construction and credit, I mean, there was just an absolute abundance amount of value in there. So just making sure that they have the time to find those resources as well and to use sources like Level Set in order to help educate themselves. I mean, I don't know what all of their next steps are, but that's part of what I try to be engaged with as well, because whatever that is, I want to help them get there.
That's incredible. And I think what we hear from people similar to you every day is that it's hard to get good people. And I think a huge part of that is also keeping them. And it sounds like that transparency and consistency that you give to everyone makes it a place that other people would want to work at. That's incredible. So I love to hear it. Really, you've all navigated all of these challenges very well. I think it's something that inspires me and all the rest of us here to go out, do more, and kind of stay at that same level that y'all are at. Real quick to our audience here, though, we see your amazing questions coming in. Please keep them coming. We have reserved time if we don't get to them in the moment that they're sent at the very end of the session to address all the questions that have come. Okay. So now let's talk about how you ladies have had an impact in growing your businesses. I know that we've really hinted on growing your revenue and teams, winning those new jobs, and becoming more efficient. But we want to know kind of how you've gotten to that point and what you've got up your sleeve. Kate, can you get us started here?
Sure. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's, in my opinion, really very simple, investing in automated technology, like Level Set, of course, but also what Gloria had mentioned too. I really dedicated myself in this new venture to establishing like streamlined and scalable SOPs as well for my employees so that they know exactly what to expect, what to do, and how to handle things. That really makes the business go smoothly. I mean, in this industry, there's so much that you cannot control, like I said, and I really do have a philosophy. I should really have it written on my forehead, frankly. And this is why I think I've been so successful, is that, everything I do in my business, the number one objective is to invest in tools that allow us to take control and to actively manage everything that we can control, which allows us to really revolutionize the building industry that's historically just been so antiquated. And like I had talked about before, very active in nature. So in turn, Build Ventures is becoming a different type of construction company, and seemingly everyone wants to work with us because of it. So it's definitely tried and true. It's really that automated tech and the organizational like management systems, that Level Set also provides. That's really allowing us to disrupt the status quo, if you will, of general contracting. To build, my whole objective is to build the more communication-focused, consumer-centric construction firm. And growing the business, you have to have solution-driven strategies. And it really starts with standardizing your procedures and adopting tools that is going to help you create that and to streamline that for your internal operations so that you can control all of that. So on the external, when we're doing our implementation, things that we can't control, we can easily pivot and handle because we have the time to do so. And those strategic partnerships will create that environment of confidence, transparency, and value, which is male or female. That is what you're combating in construction at all times. So really, it's very simple to me. It's just those technologies and standard operating procedures from the ground floor.
Yeah. Vivian, what about you?
Well, for us, it was also automating processes. When I came here, we were still cutting paper paychecks to the employees. And it took a year and a half to convince them, like, let's just go direct deposit and, automate our onboarding and offboarding processes, just different things that would help save time and make it more efficient. But my biggest thing, honestly, I feel is building relationship, whether it's building relationship with my coworkers, especially our vendors and customers. I think that's it makes a huge difference. And especially before we discovered Level Setting, your materials financing, and how I've explained how we get paid, it really it's important that you have good relationships with your vendors so that when I tell them, hey, we have not gotten paid yet, but I promise we're going to pay you, they can take me at my word. They can trust the integrity that I have to say, hey, this is where we are, this is what's going on. And without building those relationships and really helping your vendors and others understand your line of business, it could be a real issue. So I want to say that my key superpower is building relationships.
I love that. And I think what you just said, it's like we're maintaining how things are relationship based, but we're doing it in a way that you're both setting the expectations in the beginning, which I think is the best way to set up a successful relationship throughout the whole thing. Well, Gloria, it is your turn.
Well, I have to piggyback off of Vivian because she almost said exactly what I was thinking as far as relationships, and only we're on the opposite side. She's paying and we're getting paid, right? Mm-hmm. So from the position of credit and collections, a lot of times our role is more commonly viewed as protecting the business as opposed to growing the business. But obviously that wasn't going to be good enough for me. We're not just a back office position. We have an impact on this business and whether or not it grows and it's successful. Our implementation of flexible terms and getting to know our customers, exactly what Vivian was saying. A relationship is key. We are building relationships with our customers all the time, getting to know their business, understanding the way that they're built so that we then know how to help them and help them grow their business. So we do this by finding a way to open up our newer, smaller businesses who are just, getting going. Especially some of our smaller subcontractors, the range of customers that we deal with, yes, we have our large general contractors and builders, but we also have our little mom and pop shops and our drywall guys who are a one-man show. They haven't a clue about how to protect their own lien rights. And even though our terms aren't paid when paid, that's pretty much how it works, right? They're going to pay us as soon as they're paid. So we want to help them make sure they get paid. I direct subcontractors to level set all the time, on the daily. When they're calling me, to negotiate more time to pay because they haven't been paid, my first question is, are you protecting your lien rights? Are you sending your notices? And 9 times out of 10, they're not. So redirecting them to resources like Level Set and the simplicity of it so that they can learn and educate themselves and protect their business, it goes a long way. We find ways to try to help the sell by offering them these other options so that they can get paid, which will help us get paid. And it's helped some of these smaller business grow their own business. And they're going to remember that loyalty. They're going to remember that we gave them a chance when nobody else would. And they're going to return that loyalty. Customer service is the foundation of our business. It's not only at the time of the sale. We want our service to our customers from the point of the sale all the way to payment. So we strive to build that rapport and build those relationships with our customers by, constant communication, being available for them when they need us, even some of the tedious requests that they need that we don't always have as much time for, is carving out that time, walking them through sometimes their payables and how they're going to pay us, and walking them through our statements so that they can, pay us accurately with their remittance, or even sometimes having to find maybe their mistakes in those payables and helping them work through it. I mean, it just goes a long way. We think about customers buying from Action. Of course, they're looking for pricing, they're looking for product availability and all that good stuff. But it's my hope and my goal that it's also because of the ease of doing business with us for the entire experience, all the way through even to payment.
For sure. It's the whole people do business with people they like. Mm-hmm. You seem like you're nailing it there. Great.
Thank you.
So I really love how each of your responses vary based on your respective roles in your company and the type of construction company that you own or work for. Despite how dynamic and different the workloads are, I can't help but call out the common thread of how critical it is to ensure financial security and growing any kind of business. There are so many ways to do that. And like we know, there's really no one size fits all in the construction industry. It's super nuanced, and I love how y'all reflect the power that we as women have in shaping that growth and that success. So next, I'd love to go through a few slides and briefly touch on how you and thousands of others in the industry partner with Level Set to secure your company's finances and grow your businesses. As we've already heard, automation is a total game changer here. You no longer have to spend valuable time doing busy work or creating systems that are time consuming and subject to human error. This is where Level Set can really come into play. We have a variety of products to help your financial department run smoothly and help you grow your business. So you can kind of say hello to lien rights management software. As soon as you give us the project information and the dates that you're beginning work, we'll calculate and track all your deadlines for you based off of the state you're working in, your role on the project, your customer's role, and what type of project it is. From there, you can receive alerts about deadlines and track everything in one central place. The best part is that there are multiple ways to get your information in the system too. So you can either type it in yourself or set up a very quick direct integration with your ERP or an accounting software. Once jobs are all in the system, Job Radar plays a huge part in helping prioritize your collection efforts. You have access to information that clients may not want to be forthcoming with, but is vital when pre-qualifying and working with someone. Monitoring and notifications are automated, so once a job is entered, it doesn't take any manual effort to stay up to date. So Kate, I'd love to hear about how tools like Level Set's lien waiver automation and custom spreadsheets help you secure your company's finances to achieve growth goals, and then how you use other tools like Job Radar to protect the business.
Sure. I mean, when it comes to lien waivers and tracking and the collection of the counter signature and notarizing, it's not only so like technical, but it's monotonous. And frankly, it's just plain hard to accomplish in such a fast-paced environment as construction is, especially we're on the sites all the time. I mean, a big part of my job is walking the field. I find myself a lot telling clients and other colleagues that, I'm in the field today. I can't get back to my computer until later tonight. So it becomes very hard to track all of that. And actually, that's how we found Level Set, is when I opened Build Ventures. I wanted to investigate really electronic notarizing is really where my head was at, and like the middle and like storage of our waivers. And then when we did the tutorial, of the lien waiver automation, it's exactly what we needed and really more. In your research even taught me that even like Florida lien waivers, by statute don't actually have to be notarized. And so that was actually really incredible, because the most cumbersome part of the process was literally made non-existent just by a tutorial with you. So I thought that was very, very important. And that education, we get so, laser focused in our day-to-day, and that's great. However, that doesn't leave us time to continuously investigate and continuously keep ourselves apprised of legal statutes and requirements and things that, we really do, and we could benefit from knowing. And this was a huge, huge thing, not to mention, we can preset those documents and those recipients. So without even thinking about it, like our waivers can be sent out, signed electronically, returned, time-stamped, and then stored, which really was the biggest thing. And the Job Radar alerts were I didn't really even think about that until you guys really brought it up. And I just kind of thought that was the name of the game, with all my experience. It's like, well, we'll get the lien when we get the lien, and like to keep that on the radar and have that like in real time for us was really, that's what I'm talking about, is really the game changer in our management and how we can command a better brand and higher income and revenue too off of our projects, because we'll know these things ahead of time. And again, it's all about, I can't say enough, being proactive as a general contractor and controlling as much as you can. And that, getting insight on what type of financial, reputation and performance that subcontractors have, other general contractors. Oftentimes I find myself working in partnership, and even clients like development firms I noticed are on there too. And it gives you a real true ranking of how they pay, if they've been late, how many liens have been filed, et cetera. And you can really make sometimes that I've always been told, some of the best jobs are the ones you don't take. And sometimes, that can be big insight to saving saving your time and to prioritizing your focus on those clients and projects that you should take and that are good for you. And Level Set's really been able to reveal all of that for us. And again, taking the right projects, doing them the right way, that's how you're going to continue to grow your business in this industry and be successful. And of course, no more chasing subs and vendors, and no more delays in payments, because we get bottlenecked in getting the releases back from our subs, getting the releases back from our third-party subs and material men in order to present our pay applications to the owners to get paid. So that was creating such late payments for us. And as you know, I mean, it's just so tough. Once you get into that snowball effect, it's very tough to catch up. And then, of course, no more paper, which is a big thing now too, which has been really great for us. So the combination of just those two, and there's so much more to talk about, but the combination of those two for us in general as the boots on the ground contractor, really, again, the standard operating procedures and that automation, I tell you what, it's really been changing the way that we conduct business. And that's the whole point.
Thank you. I'd be so curious too to see, like you were saying, the time that it used to take to receive payment from the owner versus now, the exact difference it made in that like payment delay.
And it really stems because, you know, I have to package my pay applications appropriately. I work with a lot of big projects. We do hotels. So a lot of them are bank finance, and the bank requires certain packaging. And a lot of those packages are combinations of conditional releases, unconditional releases, material man releases, just depending on the trickle down, depending on how the job is set up. And those banks, they're not boots on the ground, and they just look at the paperwork. They will not release your funding. They will not release your next draw. And your client expects you to continue moving forward momentum. So how do? You dip into your overhead to try to float those costs. And then you get into a whole nother conversation, you know? So this has really helped us bridge that gap between our clients and our subcontractors to make sure the project is moving for everybody.
Great. Thank you. All right. So I personally, again, am so proud of kind of how you took care of all of that. Our Scout research team here is something that Kate had mentioned with finding information that would eliminate the gaps in your project information sheets. So this solution gives you access to the job and property stakeholder details you need to have accurate preliminary notices. We confirm the details you've given us, and then we find anything that you're missing. In cases of projects with multiple players or information that is difficult to find, Scout acts as a massive time saver and ensures you're sending the right prelims or the prelims to the right people and to the right places. Gloria, I know Action Gypsum is taking full advantage of the Level Set Scout Ultimate team. Can you talk us through how they've, did I hit my mute button? Sorry about that. Can you talk us through how they've been able to help improve the accuracy of your Texas monthly notices?
Yeah, definitely. But actually, after listening to Kate, I don't think we're taking full advantage. I'm going to have to get on it. I've definitely been one of your more stubborn pupils. I have to tip my hat to Michael Kungle on your sales team because he was very persistent. He did not give up on me. I've been a little bit more old school with doing things our way, which was still very manual. Like Kate mentioned, it's a control thing. You know, it's a little bit scary to hand off your most important duty to someone else and not knowing exactly, you know, how it's going to work out or how it's going to, you know, relate to your customer, having someone else from contacting them. But I finally gave in. Michael was relentless, and we agreed to at least start with the job research. It's one of the biggest challenges for me and my team with managing our Texas lien notices in a timely manner every single month. It took us probably a day to 3 days, 1 to 3 days of simply just trying to find information. And we just don't always have all of the resources that we need. The appraisal districts aren't always as accurate as you would like them to be. You would think that you can rely on them, but you learn quickly when you get a letter from an attorney advising that you've noticed the wrong person and it's not their property. And bam, just like that, you've lost lien rights for that period that you sent that notice for. So finding accurate job information was definitely our biggest struggle. With Michael, we started your job research module, and it has just been a lifesaver. You know, that 1 to 3 days of work, like you said, busy work and finding that information is now closer to 24 hours. And I'm not doing it. So I format the spreadsheet that I use each month for the jobs and projects that we're going to have to notice. I send an easy spreadsheet to Level Set, which is already the spreadsheet I'm working out of anyway. So it's nothing extra. It's no additional time needed. I send that to them and they get to work. And I'll admit, you know, I was very reluctant about and skeptical about, you know, these kinds of services, because, you know, you get so many different calls and they all pretty much offer the same service you need, but it's scary to venture out. So I did it. I said, okay, fine, we'll try it. We'll do job research. And I said, and I made it difficult. I said, I can't give you a lot of notice. I can give you this much notice and I'm going to need it. You know, it made it a little difficult for him. So as soon as I sent that first spreadsheet, I said, let me go into my, my dashboard and see. And like 20-30% of my jobs had already been found. It's like complete. I mean, it just cut our time seriously in half. And it also just took away the fear of it being the wrong owner, of us sending out the notice for the wrong owner, because sometimes it is a crapshoot. You're just not really sure. You go with what you can find and hope for the best. But it's definitely solidified that accuracy for us. It's just made it easier. It's freed up, like I said, a whole almost 2 days of us, instead of having to look for information, we can focus on the collections and try to actually get that funding in prior to even having to send the notice. And we are looking into more of the services now. I was convinced, after only a few months, I was convinced. So we've looked into more of that now. We've ventured into a little bit of the waivers, into the automating the waivers. So that's going to be a big deal for us, because we probably spend about 25 to 30% of our time, just manually filling out those waivers and sending them back. So we're looking into that. And no, I mean, it's been great. It's definitely opened up the realization that Level Set is a great resource, and we're going to take a lot more advantage of it going forward.
Thanks. I'm excited to see how it changes for y'all. We see a lot of people when they decide to finally kind of let go of that control, it's a little tougher to, but it pays off for sure. That's great to hear.
Necessary.
All right. So here we are with materials financing. Materials financing is something that can empower you and your company to take on new jobs without waiting for those customer payments. So when you finance materials on a job with Level Set, we ensure that your lien rights on the job are protected, just in case you do run into any payment problems. Materials financing can help grow your business by offering pay when paid terms up to 120 days and the flexibility to work with any supplier. We become your partner and offer you the support and empowerment you need to really get what you earned. Vivian, I'm curious to hear how Level Set's materials financing has helped Mesh secure those finances to achieve your business growth. So what got you interested in it in the first place? What issues were you having, and how did it help you get through them and then move forward?
Okay, so paid when paid, that's a big issue because we still have to purchase the material. We still have to keep our job going. As Kate said earlier, you can't stop your job because you don't have the funds or you didn't get paid. So you still have to stay on top of your schedule. And at times that could be difficult. We were just trying to find other ways of financing, but to be able to just have that 120-day window. And then I can't say enough about your Level Set team, because you guys are super amazing. Once we submit our portion, which is our invoicing and a few other documents to you guys electronically, your team just takes the ball and they run with it. They are communicating with our vendors. If there's something missing, they need anything additional, they are verifying that payments have been sent and received. And your dashboard for materials financing is amazing. And it helps me just verify what I'm tracking that we owe, the contracts that are out. And your team is just super amazing. And it's just really helped us, because if we're not able to get paid for 45, 60 days, then we're not having to pay for that material at that time. And we can not have to dip into overhead costs, as Kate stated earlier. We still have payroll. Our payroll is almost $100,000 every 2 weeks. And so that might not seem like a big deal for some companies, but it's huge when you are still waiting for $500,000 or $1 million in pay apps to come in, and you only usually get all of your payments 1 week out of the month, and you've been waiting for 60 days to get that $1 million, then it could be a real issue. But you guys have helped us be able to navigate that so much easier, because we do have that 120 days that we have to pay you guys back for paying our vendors. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I know that you are someone whose name I recognized before we even got to meet, because I've heard how much they love working with you too. So no, that's a mutual feeling there. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So ladies, when it comes to using everything we have discussed here to secure your finances, what's some other general advice that you have for women in the industry?
Well, I think it just really comes down to controlling what you can control. I know I've said it so many times in this webinar, but that's really, the case in point, and to create those hard and fast, like standard operating procedures, for your business. For women in the industry coming into construction, or even if you've been in it for a while, I think that you have to follow your intuition, because it's never wrong, and follow your gut. And that will make you stand out amongst all the men in the dominated field, really. And I think that it'll really push the pendulum, and to continue to bring other women into the field too. Really owning your jobs, establishing your roles, and just knowing that we're all here together, we're all supporting everybody together. And as long as we can invest in those proper tools to create those wins and those hows and those whats with our employees too, especially in my side and general contracting side. If I can make my team happier, less stressed with these different tools and automations, it creates a more seamless work environment for everybody. And our customers will 100% pick up on that too. And they'll benefit from that. And that only leads to more growth and success. So keep doing it, because we are making a difference, and we are very important to this industry, especially with, you see now in this panel, how we have made these decisions to commit to these tools, just as Gloria has talked about, as Vivian's talked about. And we are single-handedly, even though we have teams, single-handedly are, by dedicating ourselves, creating this business to be better, and everyone will be better for it.
Absolutely.
I'll add to that. Just don't be afraid to use your voice. Any reluctancy that we have as women to step back or to shy away from voicing our opinion or our thoughts on a matter, that should be thrown far, far away from you. We have a lot to say. And as Kate mentioned, we're action oriented, we're detail oriented. We think about the small things that, let's just be honest, we know men don't think about. And so don't be afraid to bring it up. You have no idea, or you can't even imagine how it might change for your business. I won't get too much into it, but again, the credit did not have much of a voice when I came into action. There was a lot of implementation that went into place that didn't get a good review. Our sales department is predominantly men, although that's changed too over the years. I'm proud to say, for action, but we are changing the way, and we have ideas and they deserve to be heard. So use your voice.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I would say, look at being a woman as your superpower. Don't look at it as a disability or, hey, I'm the first one coming into this environment. Then that's great. That's amazing, because that means that what you're bringing has not been brought to that room before. And so bring it, shine, like Gloria said, use your voice, speak up, whether it's heard or it isn't. That doesn't mean that you stop speaking. Use your voice. If I had not kept pushing for level set material financing, we would not be using it. Honestly, our different members, procurement manager was a little hesitant. He was afraid that, well, maybe our customers won't get paid on time, our vendors won't get paid on time, but you guys are amazing and awesome. But I kept pushing and saying, hey, we really need this. This is something we need to help us with cash flow. So had I shrunk back and been quiet and not pushed it, whether it was through an email or whether it was still just bringing it up again in another meeting, or when I submitted our cash flow projections, we would not be utilizing this most amazing tool that has really changed the game for us. So speak up, use your superpower, bring your full self, and just live in your purpose, even through your job, and you'll see things change for you.
Absolutely.
Own that role.
Own it. Yes. I had a teacher in high school who always talked about play up, you're pretty. Don't shy away from it. You're a woman. And like you said, that's your superpower.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wear heeled work boots on the job.
Oh, you're
awesome. I do. And I refuse to not do that, because it makes such a statement, and I feel it really shows everyone that I'm owning my role. And frankly, the minute what you put out, people will pick up. So
right.
Own your role and keep your head high, and we're all in this together.
Right. Good job, ladies.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, as promised, I know we are at 2:00 now, but we do have some time if y'all would like to put any questions in and answer some of the questions that were in the webinar. And then just so I don't miss anything, I believe that we have Kara who's going to help me make sure that we can read them off to answer. Let's see.
Y'all, I was over here just talking away. I did not realize I was on mute. Oh my goodness. I was also reading some of the amazing comments that have come in as we were wrapping up this call, as some people were wrapping up the call. And, I just want to call some of these out. This was an inspiring and uplifting call. All of these things I said, I wanted to reiterate, like being a woman is a superpower and all of these things, like totally inspired. Thank you for your greatness and paving the way. I didn't want any of our panelists to miss those incredible comments that came through. Okay, we ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, I've been excited about this one. Brenda here is asking us, are you using any means and methods as a woman-led organization that you see as different from other businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I think really fundamentally, not to simplify it, but just being a female general contractor and real estate broker and business owner, I mean, that already takes people aback. And frankly, I use that to my advantage. When I walk into a new construction meeting or new project meeting, I'm usually with a lot of investors, a lot of high net worth individuals, franchisees, hotel owners. And more oftentimes than not, unfortunately, I've gotten, when is the JC going to be here? Did you bring coffee? All that. But frankly, I bring that in. I take that in and I say, yeah, absolutely. What kind of coffee would you like? And then when we sit down and the meeting gets started, and then I am introduced, as that authority figure, as that contractor, I love that because it kind of snaps people back. And so, the means and methods, it's really just, again, owning your role and knowing your worth and your value and that you're here for a reason and that I've worked very hard to be here, as we all have worked very hard in what we do, and kind of letting people, like I said, pick up what you're putting down. And once you do that and you establish that, you harness that respect. And so again, just as all of us have been saying, really own your role, really use your superpower as a female, and don't let anything get under your skin. Really, it's not necessarily means and methods, it's more of a mindset that you just kind of let those things go because you know that you'll be fine and you'll perform it.
Amen. Our next question here is for Gloria. And this attendee says, I come from a car background as well. And in this construction supplier industry, how do you overcome some of the boys club mentality and get that true buy-in?
I joined the club. Why is it a boys club? What I have to always remind myself is that I know what I know. So I just keep that at the forefront. Like I said, I always make sure to speak up. I've never been, a quiet girl. I listen. I find out what the obstacles are, face what the challenge is, and just if I know the answer, then I'll speak my piece. If I don't, I'll find out. I guess I don't know how else to answer it, but I just get in there with them, and I don't shy away from it. If they're talking, I can't even tell you how much I've learned about sports, just being in this industry, just so that I'm always part of the conversation. I don't allow any reason to push me back, from the crowd or what's being discussed, because a lot of those things are mixed in with the business. And so I just make sure that I'm a part of it, and I don't allow myself to feel like I need to, step away from it or walk out of the room. I stay there and I learn and I ask questions. I've had, plenty of, men, look at me a certain way as to why I was still sitting at the table, but I know that I belong there and that's where I'm going to learn. And so I just make myself a part of it. I'm not sure if that exactly answers your question, but.
I love that. I think it's true. It's part of disrupting the industry. You come in and there's some invisible status quo that is there, but does it have to be?
Right.
Why is it there? Challenge it, get in there, get in the center of it, become the president of the boys club, just, I love that answer. This one is a little bit more tactical, and it comes to us from Magdalena, and she says, who do you think, and this is for anyone, who do you think is the best person employee to call clients to negotiate new jobs and to offer new services? Estimating team, project managers, company owner, etc.
Well, for us as a GC, when we get a new project in, I mean, our project managers really handle that, so for us, that question for me might be a little more straightforward, as it's an actual, again, like SOP of our business, where our qualified project managers will answer and onboard new clients and get project information and set up site walks. And then that would be punted to our estimating design teams to actually materialize the job. So for us, it's just project managers who are boots on the ground, who are trained appropriately in all things construction, compliance, and finance.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess for us, there's different roles. Our outside sales representatives oftentimes are, the best ones to call and get the details for those new types of jobs. They work directly with the project managers and the estimating team. So I guess it just kind of depends on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay. So we have a couple of questions here that are very specific to each of you. Some of them are if you operate in certain states or things like this to our panelists. I think the best course of action there is we will have all of these questions afterwards, and we can have you exchange contact info if that's something that you would like to do. We can also give you those questions and you can shoot off an email if that's additionally something that you would like to do. So I do have one last question for the group. If anybody wants to jump in and answer this, I think it's a great way to round out this incredible panel. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you for coming. How do you see women supporting each other in the construction industry to expand what women are doing in the industry already? Are you hiring other women-owned companies, consultants, accountants, attorneys, etc.?
Oh yeah, 100%. I love to onboard women subcontractors, to work with subcontractors who have women working for them. And, there's a couple other things that I'm kind of spearheading in my own time, as far as like women construction clothing and, women's owned association, where we can have a place to really network, and where, so it's definitely at the top of mind all the time. And that's something that I really, really value. And then as far as like continued support, even for those women that I can't unfortunately hire or onboard myself, we have just created such a tight knit group. I meet with them regularly, whether it's for happy hour or exchange of networking and contacts. And I think that also sets us apart from our male counterparts, that I love to partner with women, and we keep in touch, and we continue to remember each other, and we're always circulating new things, from client relationships to suppliers to banking, everything. So I think that really makes us unique, and I think that's what's really going to gain momentum in the industry, is that we love to support each other as opposed to see each other as competition, and that's important.
I'll add on just a little bit to that. I agree 100%. I know with my position that's a little bit different, but when I see a female-owned subcontractor or general contractor, I am right on it to make sure that we can find a way to make the terms work and to make the relationship work and to help them out and to educate each other. I share the platforms that I'm involved in so that they can get involved in them as well. And just, Level Set, just what Level Set is doing, it's amazing. In fact, I've probably seen so much more just from being involved with Level Set and, just all of the different platforms that we have with social media and how to, share what each other are doing. If I see something awesome, on LinkedIn, I make sure to share it and let other people know about it. I mean, just the registration participation that you advise us about for this webinar, it's extremely encouraging and motivating for all of us to see how women are supporting each other in this industry. So yeah, anything that we can do to continue to share, what's happening and sharing opportunities and just being open to those chances to bring more women into this industry.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
It's going to be female dominated after a while.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
100%.
Fantastic. Well, Allie, that was our last question. I will leave it up to you to close it out. Oh, Stephanie says, ladies, please look for us on LinkedIn and let's connect. I completely agree. Let's all connect and just continue to build each other up. This was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you all for letting me be a part here at the end and ask some questions for y'all.
Yeah, thank you, Kara. So again, thank you so much to everyone for attending today's webinar. As we mentioned in the very beginning, you will get the recording in an email tomorrow or the following day, so you'll be able to share it, rewatch it, whatever you'd like to do. I also want to mention, I know that there were a few different questions that came in about how these ladies have done what they've done. So with that, there is a lot of information on how Level Set can help you grow your business too. And we're super happy to provide a customized demo for you and anyone on your team. You can visit the website that's linked here on the screen, and there are a ton of resources there. So again, thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a great week, and we look forward to finding you online.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having me.
Thank you.